No sooner had Mitch McConnell announced his exit from politics than the race to replace him kicked into high gear, as it always does. Minutes after the seven-term Republican took to the Senate floor to say that he would not run for re-election, the jockeying for his seat began. Let's bring in Eugene Daniels, White House correspondent for Politico and an MSNBC political contributor. Joining me here on set is NBC News national politics reporter Ben Camisar. Ben, first to you. NBC News writes, and when we say that, we mean you, that open seats in solidly red or blue states don't come around very often, particularly in Kentucky, which has had only 4 senators since McConnell won the seat in 1984. So what is this race going to look like? I got to imagine it's going to be crowded.
No, it's going to be crowded because, again, you have all of these Republicans that want to go to higher office, and they've had nowhere to go recently. And Republicans certainly have had a mixed results of the governor's race. So they need this Senate race. It's going to hinge on what we see a lot of these races hinge on. Donald Trump. In Mitch McConnell, they have someone who represents sort of the old wing of the Republican Party. So now there is room for this new guard, this pro-Trump guard to come in. And you already see the candidates on the Republican side basically trying to one-up each other. You've got Andy Barr coming in, the congressman, saying he wants to be an America First senator. You've got Nate Morris, a businessman, saying everyone who's there isn't pro-Trump enough. And then you've got Daniel Cameron, the former attorney general who is backed by Trump, jumping into the race, just like you said, moments after McConnell's speech. So I think the answer to most things in Republican politics is the same one here. It's going to be about Trump.
The answer is always Trump, especially in these primaries where many of these candidates are just going to have to try to out-Trump each other, even if one of them manages to already get his endorsement. But, Eugene, longtime McConnell foe, Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida, had a brutal assessment of McConnell's legacy, calling him an establishment Washington Republican who's, quote, desperately clinging to relevance. How big of a shift does this represent for Republican politics? And it's notable that Scott would be the one to say that, Eugene, because he has really been a McConnell antagonist his entire short time in the Senate.
Right, yeah, he's been a needle in the side of McConnell for a long time. And I think for McConnell, he probably is fine with people thinking of him as kind of this establishment figure for his legacy, right? He spent 40 years in the Senate being a leader on the Republican side and kind of all of these different types of machinations that Democrats had a lot of issues with, but that had the support of his party and different presidents at different times. But this is going to change the way that Kentuckians look at who they put in this seat, right? It is unlikely maybe to be someone who is in the same ilk as a Mitch McConnell. But at the same time, they have a Democratic governor, right? So the state is not exactly one that's clear on how tough they want to be and how much they want to look like a state that is ruby red and wants to look like Donald Trump. So, someone like Daniel Cameron might have a better chance, someone who's an aide to Mitch McConnell than he would have in another red state.
And it's going to be fascinating to watch McConnell as he charts his own legacy, even as this primary battle continues to take his seat. Eugene Daniels and Ben Camisar, thank you both.